What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. The cool thing about being around different people is that they bring with them a collection of experiences that they have been through while they are literally standing in front of you. All that collection of experiences standing right in front of you. Because of our exposure and our environments and our experiences, we all develop in different ways and then have different proficiencies and talents and skills and confidences in those areas. And whatever those areas build into as confidence as well in other areas. Either way, the remarkable thing when you stand in front of someone is that they are all of those things at once. And you are all of those things at once as well. You are a culmination of all of those things. And when a group of such people get together, I find it hard to imagine what couldn't be accomplished. How even if one person had enough confidence in a specific area, let's say, for example, that the other person or people that are there can almost always, in a way, by lending a hand, add to the overall output in an endeavor that requires confidence in that specific area. Meaning, if I knew something and you didn't know much about that thing, but if I knew it well enough to guide you through it, then we could work together, even though, and if you don't have much confidence or competence in that area, by just being next to me and helping me, we could still have a greater output than if I worked on it alone. Sure, if you had more confidence and competence, then the output would be even greater. But the beautiful thing is that even if you were a blank slate, you could still be of added value if you paired up with someone who in those areas had confidence, and vice versa. And almost always that leads to people doing things they didn't originally think were possible. And I've seen this play out in my life in simple ways, and in a recent experience I just had fixing my microwave. If you work out or have ever had a spotter for your heavy sets, you will have noticed this phenomenon. If the person spotting me is someone I have confidence in, I have almost always been able to do more reps or lift heavier than ever before to hit a PR. Sometimes just the physical act of someone standing behind me, even without helping, has such a mentality shift in how you approach the difficulty. That the part of you that you reserve and store up in case of danger, that little bit of safety that you have reserves for, tends to get used up as well. And then more becomes possible. The second your mind knows that it's safe, in this case because someone is there while you're lifting, it almost unleashes and unbinds from its own perceived limitations and lets you give it your all, because it knows it has safety mechanisms and measures in place to catch you in case you fall or fail. So I saw this happen with me because I'm not somebody who's very handy. So the other day when I woke up to the news that my microwave broke, that only leads to me looking for solutions that require outside assistance. I can perform the most basic troubleshooting steps that I can Google, but it's not like a computer that I'm well versed in, it's an appliance. So I'm not usually the type to consider opening it up and messing with it, especially since it's mounted on the wall. So after realizing the issue was bigger than just basic troubleshooting steps that I could fix, like the fuse might be blown out and it requires for it to be taken apart, in my mind I almost wrote off the entire possibility of it being fixed anytime soon until I either find a handyman or buy a new microwave. And this time wasted is an issue because it also serves as an exhaust while we cook. And just ironically, later in the same day, my sister and the kids and my brother-in-law were planned to come over. And he's a lot more handy than I am. So the only thing I thought was I'll ask him for some suggestions when he comes. That was the only hope that I had left, but still didn't have too much hope because the way that it's mounted on the wall, it would have to be taken down to fix it. And it didn't seem like a plausible thing for us to do. So when he came over, I mentioned it, and he has a lot more confidence than me. So he just said right away, it only has 4 screws, man. Let's just take it apart. And I'm like, you're crazy. And still, just because he was standing there, I decided to find a screwdriver and got up on the ladder and started unscrewing the visible screws just to see if the microwave can be taken apart. And long story short, an hour, a Home Depot trip to buy fuses, and a bunch of cleaning later, we are putting everything back together and the microwave turned right on. So for me, when it comes to things like this, I got to witness on the same day when it broke, to me witnessing myself completely discount the idea of doing it, to then having played a part in fixing a broken fuse inside the microwave behind a bunch of panels. I felt like a man. I had used the confidence that my brother-in-law had to overlook all the difficulty and charge forward into unknown territory for me, knowing that he was there as guidance the whole time. Even though he really did most of it, I still witnessed myself get up there with no question and start taking apart panels. Something I would never do. I grew up in India with quick calls to handymen. Even when I was just there, if something broke, we call somebody and usually it costs like $5 and they fix it. And in America, we had this other company called American Home Shield that took care of any broken appliance or any issue in the house for a small deductible. So I literally never had to learn how to solve issues like this. And I used to work on my car because I loved my car and didn't trust anyone else with it, but that was the only incentive I had that made me a little bit handy with cars. But when it comes to domestic appliances, I haven't built any trust with myself. If it was computers or an electronic gadget or some software issue, I'd be more inclined to have the confidence and think I could do it. The larger point being, I saw myself do something that on the same day I didn't think I could do, all because I was able to borrow the belief and co-pilot the confidence of someone else. And from that, I unlocked this unquestionable ability to do it. And that has led me to ask myself this question. What else could I be doing that I immediately write off at first because I don't know myself to do it? But if I just found one person or a small group who had the confidence in that area, in any area that I find worth developing, I can't help but wonder what I would witness myself do that I can't even imagine. Who else am I that's hiding behind the beliefs I have yet to build? And how much of that can I borrow? How much of it can I co-pilot? I don't even know. I love you, family. Stay true always. See you on the next show.